Hey horror fans, happy October once again. Welcome to my latest review for the month. This one is going to be of a recent Shudder original movie. It's called Who Invited Them? It stars Dick himself from Veronica Mars. That's right, Ryan Hansen. He played Adam, who persuades his wife, Margot, played by Melissa Tang, to move into a new home in the Hollywood Hills, a more kind of upmarket, expensive type home. They're having one or two teething problems, especially the wife and their young son. They decide to hold a housewarming party, inviting a lot of their friends, some awkward tension in the air, but mysteriously, this couple shows up to the party who they don't know, and the couple turns out to be Tom and Sasha. Then they don't know this couple. That's where the title of the movie comes from. Who invited them? They say a couple of times throughout the film. Everybody else has gone home, and they're discussing where did they come from, who invited them, and out of the blue it turns out that they're still at the house. They've been in the bathroom all that time, so before the couple kicks them out properly, Adam can't help but probe further and try to find out who they are exactly, who invited them. They say they're their new neighbours and that someone's car from the party was blocking theirs in, so they came over to rant and complain, but they ended up sort of staying and enjoying the party but not revealing who they were. Margot is ready to move them on and say, okay, whatever, get out of it. Lifestyle of Tom, and looks up to Adam and his playlist and stuff, endears him to Adam. Invite them to stay for drinks, and they slowly get further into their lives. You see them pair off, the couple over, driving a wedge between the couple. They're trying to play them off against each other. Dark secrets lurking and malicious intentions in the background. Solid, I think, by the standard of Shudder original movies, which I think is still pretty low from what I've seen. It's one of the better ones for me. Nice setup too, the opening scene I think sets the table nicely. There's some decent direction in that opening scene where you get a point of view shot from a car, and Margot's looking out on the car, sat outside there for ages, and there just seems to be someone inside staring. New home jitters, and are they being a bit paranoid? It also plays a bit into that home invasion sense of paranoia. The casting for this I thought was good. Ryan Hansen is definitely playing very close to his type, the Dick out of Veronica Mars type. But in this he's a little bit more likeable and grounded, in theory at least. Of the film, this pairing of Tom and Sasha were effective, quite sort of icy and chilling, but in this playful sort of way which fits the satire of the film. Matt Field might have stole the film as Sasha. She's very good. She has a little bit of a Jennifer Aniston vibe to her, but if you think of a more sort of turned up, eccentric, icy Jennifer Aniston, I think that's what you might get with her. She really has quite a wicked way about her, and it's very effective and suggestive in the way she puts things. Maybe the biggest laugh of the film, or one of them anyway, is her being very suggestive and erotic with a golf club at some point, which is just really funny. And what makes that scene so funny is that she's doing it as Margot's on the phone to someone else, because it turns out Margot used to be in this band, who is in the band, so Sasha has talked her into calling him up to try and organise a reunion, and this is when they're paired off, Tom with Adam and Sasha with Margot, so they're individually doing their best to kind of put a wedge between them. Tom's trying to maybe suggest that Margot isn't being supportive enough, then he almost has the perfect marriage and lifestyle with Sasha. Plant these seeds where it could lead to friction between the couple, and part of the fun is watching them fish for like new bits of dirt so they can continue spinning this out as long as possible, because there's this scene where Sasha, after you've had like quite a big bit of drama between the characters, Sasha, and they go off to have a chat, Sasha like sneaks away and you just see her in shot listening to them talking. Laugh out loud funny scenes. One of the best gags that had me laughing was when Margot is trying to dig and trying to find out from Sasha what the hell you two were doing in the bathroom all the time. And to think, well, were you having sex in our bathroom? And like, she's outraged. But then when Sasha says, actually, sorry, we were sneaking a little joint, smoking in the bathroom pot. And at first it makes it look like Margot's really pissed and upset. But then it's revealed and she's actually not that bummed out about that, and she misses those days of having like pot and kicking back. So it's like, do you happen to have anything left? Margot is being a bit more free spirited and partering, and is like, okay, what exactly is going on? This doesn't seem like you. And so some moments of the satire really land like that, where I think that's digging a little into like the masculinity of things sometimes, where you still get this imbalance where the man can sort of do what he wants in a way and kick back and party, but it's not always right, and it's sometimes still frowned upon if a woman wants to do the same. And that's something which Tom and Sasha are playing with. They're using that to like plant a seed between them for their own purposes. So there are some really funny gags. Some gags don't quite land. So there's a random line that Adam's boss has to his wife about like he wants to leave because he wants to like focus on his gun club or not to get distracted. So, but there's a line about suggesting that he's into like gun club sort of thing, and that kind of thing. It just felt a bit random and sort of shoehorned into the movie. A lot of awkward like pauses and moments. Adams, he might say something that's a little bit inappropriate, but he doesn't go too far with it. But then the other person will then actually make a gag which is like crossing a line sort of thing, but then they sort of pull back and they mark it as being like only kidding, that kind of thing. And so the film has a nice slow burn like that, where they don't rush this stuff, and because they don't rush it, it actually feels quite natural, the way it flows and the way things play out quite organically, where you do get this sort of quite realistic type field of awkward humour between these couples who don't know each other. Clever way to introduce the mystery behind this couple and like some of the horror elements. This couple murdered in the house. And it's about 20 years ago. That's a plot point later, but Adam says it's about 20 years ago. And he reveals to Tom that he's told Margot the basic fact of people were murdered in the house, but he has left out some of the more like lurid type detail. He's sort of being a bit awkward about it, but also a bit loose. And then Tom will just like add to it with like gags about how it's actually quite thrilling, the idea that someone blew their brains out in like my house. This awkward sort of air which adds tension to the drama and the horror. I saw you kind of stare fucking my wife or whatever the line is, but it's like, and then Adam's like, oh no, I wasn't doing that, and he's like, and Tom's like, really? And then he turns it around and says, it's fine. What's mine is yours type thing. And so then they start playing into this idea that this couple would be down with sharing their bodies, having a sexual experience. So like a foursome, and I think it's Adam that says, well, no, actually we were talking about a threesome. It just plays with the audience a lot in quite an effective way. Adding to it, like of Adam and his wife agreed to take the son for the night. Son won't settle down because he's like missing his toy. His friend agrees to go back to the house to get it for him. It's a bit long-winded, that side of things, because you see a random scene where she like hits something on the road, like some sort of animal, considering shooting it, but then she's like putting it out of its misery, but she actually doesn't in the end. That was a really random scene, trying to make her look a bit malicious for some reason, or whether it's just like a comment on the gun culture. And quite a lot of time cutting back and forth with her, a bit drawn out, and especially since they were cutting back and forth between that and the stuff at the house, plays into what happens at the end. So you could have just had a quick scene of her saying pick up the son's toy, and then you could have just gone back to the Adam and Margot stuff for the rest of the film until we needed this character in the plot again, and just gone back. So that stuff like bogged the pacing down. It turns out that Tom and Sasha aren't a regular couple, brother and sister who grew up in that house years ago, and it turns out that they actually killed their parents. They revealed to Adam, don't worry, we think they use this line, not a bad couple, and then they turn it around on him a few minutes later and says, well, we said you're not a bad couple, but that doesn't mean you're a good couple. But it's almost like the way they're saying it is, you're a decent enough couple, so we won't kill you. You're not like total monsters. But because you still have your issues, then we're still going to torture you and play with you. Older couple, who are the real neighbours, who they've kidnapped, knew about the abuse they suffered as children, and they didn't do anything. All this couple in front of Adam. About the twist that I like is how Adam actually catches Tom in a lie. This was 17 years ago. Why can't Margot get over it? And that's where Adam catches him. That's like, I never said it was 17 years ago. Which is true, that checks when you play that scene back, because he actually said it was roughly 20 years. It's a decent twist. It's a little bit cliche just because like the whole, oh, we're really the brother and sister we killed our parents in this house years ago. And that twist has been done before, so it's a little bit cliche. It obviously adds a darker edge to them as well, the fact that they're actually brother and sister, and were willing to go through with some really perverted stuff, and suggestive stuff. A little bit muddly with different things happening, like, as I said, the friend shows up in the crosshair and shooting Adam by mistake. To like a few weeks down the line, it turns out Adam survives, but it's on the news that this brother and sister masquerading as a couple are on the run. Playful and funny ending. It is one of the best gags in the movie, where Adam comes home and it's almost like Margot has had a change of heart. Here is like, no, it's grown on me sort of thing. So like a turnaround, and there's just this gag where they're playing the same record as from earlier. That is, and the record was getting a bit worn down. Notices the record it isn't skipping, and he starts saying, well, what's going on? This record was like skipping. And then there's a turn where he looks at like the glass on the side, and it seems to be filled up, and it seems to be like the drink than Tom had. So, but it's just this gag at the end of the film, which is just a playful cliffhanger of like, has Margot sort of gone to the dark side? This record isn't skipping. And he says that a couple of times. We cut to credits. So although the scene before that and the twist and stuff, it gets a bit muddly, and they're trying to be a little too clever at times. I did enjoy the sort of gag at the end. If you just get into this as more of a horror style comedy, like more of a satire, then there's a lot of fun to be had. As Shudder Original goes, I think this was very solid and enjoyable. I would recommend it. I would probably rewatch it. So that's Who Invited Them, today's horror review. Thanks for listening, like and subscribe. And just to plug something, because me and Rachel McDonald, we have probably our biggest review of the month coming up, and that is the review of the new Halloween movie, Halloween Ends, the last in the David Gordon Green modern Halloween trilogy, and possibly the last film to ever star Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. So our review of that new release is coming up in the next couple of days. The plan is to have it out for tomorrow. Look out for our Halloween Ends review, which should be a meaty one, coming up in the next couple of days. But let me know what you thought of this movie if you saw it. Like and subscribe as always, and I'll see you guys later.